Hi, Attorney Jeffrey Randa back with another installment of 2-Minute Legal, and today I want to talk about plea bargains and their importance and role in DUI cases. Now, of course, anytime someone's charged with an operating while intoxicated, meaning an OWI or a DUI offense, their first hope is that the whole thing can just be made to go away, that it can somehow be dismissed. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen in all but the fewest of cases. So when it doesn't, what becomes important is to reduce whatever charge a person is facing to the lowest possible offense we can negotiate. Let's use a real-world example. Most people will find themselves charged, for example, with OWI, or operating while intoxicated. This is a misdemeanor offense. As the law points out, it's punishable by up to 93 days in jail, although jail really isn't on the menu for any first offender. But it does carry 6 points on the person's driving record. It carries a mandatory 6-month suspension of his or her license, with the first 30 days of that being hard, meaning a person can't drive at all, but then is on a restricted license for the remaining 5 months. And it carries potential fines and costs of up to $500 each. If a person is able to negotiate a reduction of that charge down to the less serious impaired driving charge, everything gets better. That only carries 4 points on the person's driving record. The fines and costs are only $300 each. In other words, $300 in fines plus $300 in costs. But most important, it only mandates that the person's driver's license be restricted for 90 days without any hard suspension, meaning a person, instead of not being able to drive for 30 days and being stuck on a restricted for the next 5 months, will just be put on a restricted for 90 days only, and then everything goes back to normal. Of course, in addition to less fines and less costs and less points in the driving record and less impact to a person's ability to drive, it's just a lesser offense, and that always looks and sounds better. Now, the important thing about plea bargains is that they are negotiated. In other words, prosecutors don't generally offer them without the defense asking for and finding a way to draw one out of them. That can happen any number of ways. Sometimes it requires the defense lawyer to stand firm and argue and essentially say, we're not going to take a plea, we're going to take this matter to trial and hopefully get the prosecutor to relent. Other times it's done through providing certain information or showing that, for example, if a person clearly has an alcohol problem, that he or she is doing something to address it. So there are all kinds of ways plea bargains can be negotiated, but the central and most important component of that is that they are negotiated. There is usually some kind of a back and forth, and often this involves any number of court appearances and meetings between the prosecutor and the defense to hammer out an agreement. But at the end of the day, the client is best served when whatever charge he or she is facing can be reduced, and ultimately a less severe offense will go on his or her record. That is, in essence, a plea bargain.